viewers, let's get down to business. Alright. Oh, wait. Ah! My foot. So, hello viewer. These bottom 20 rolls, I don't know where the hell they came from, to be honest with you. But I got them like about 9 months, 9 months ago. Alright, let's do this. Right? Let's get down to business. Yay, Weedy. $19.57 Denver. We pay number 1. Yay. 1953 Denver. Wheat penny number 2. Hello, viewer. Oh, 9. Oh, Wheatie. $19.41 Philly. Wheat penny number 3. 17 Philly. God, I'm watching videos about like ed techs. Like I just watched one about IXL. My God, if I had to do IXL again, I would strategically place myself in front of a locomotive. Oh, Canadian penny. If you guys don't know what it is, IXL is a online website, and it's an education thing. Okay, whatever. So it teaches you. Why do you hate it? Well, guess what? Here's how it works. You get questions, and you answer them, right? And you get points, called SMART score. Now, this SMART score, well, you get like your like okay at 70, okay, you're really good at like 80, and 90 is like really good, and then like 100 is you're really good, like you've mastered it. So it's 100 out of 100. Now, you answer questions, you get points, but here's where it gets bad. There's no 90. It removes points. So right now, when you answer the first couple questions, you get like 10 points. You get maybe 12. And then when you get to like 80, it starts going down like 5 points per correct question. Oh, there's a Wheatie. Oh, there's 2 Wheaties. Oh, there's 3 Wheaties. Oh, look at that. That is very... Oh, hey, that's a wheat. Canadian penny. Hold on, Jack. Give me a second. Let me just drop the shit ton of pennies. Wheaties. Man, I got 4 Wheaties from a single roll. I barely get that. 1950 Denver, 1947 Denver, 1955 Philly, 1947 Philly. Holy shit. Wheat pennies. Number 4, 5, 6, and 7. Okay, so what's the whole problem, right? Well, when you answer a right question at some point, you get like 12 points. Or like when you go past 80, you'll get like 5 points when you're correct. And then you'll lose like 10 or 15 when you're incorrect. But when it gets to 90, you only get like 1 or 2 points. But when you answer incorrectly, it removes like 10 to 15 points off of your grade. It is literally a struggle. Like, it makes you want to go find your nearest brick wall and bash your own brains in. It sucks. Anyway, we got 10 rolls in. We should have 2 wheat pennies. We got 7 of them. We got a lucky roll. It dropped like 4 Wheaties. Hopefully we get some good rolls today. Keep getting some good rolls. That's nice, Wheatie. But another thing I really hated is Go Guardian. My God, I hated Go Guardian. I don't care if it's, I'm in school. I hate having restrictive software on my devices. This shit was bull. And it's stupid because, like, I would go find something innocent, and it'd be, like, blocked. Or, what I really hated is the fact that you could be on your computer and have a teacher literally watching over you. It's not because I was doing something bad or malicious. Because no one wants to have someone watch their damn computer screen. Like, holy shit. Go Guardian sucks. And there's another one. $1957 10 for 1954S. Wheat penny number 8 and 9. Now, and this video is called "Your School Must Ban Go Guardian Immediately." Honestly, when I start thinking about it, I mean, like, even as a normal person, the amount of spying ability you have on Go Guardian is nuts. Can you imagine it? Like, I don't think there's much out. I mean, the company definitely has access to all the data, all their screens. And by the way, what's really scary to me about Go Guardian is the fact that you can actually you can delete tabs. I don't want to be that person. I would be surprised if Go Guardian has a little bit of malware slipped into it. I'm genuinely being serious. I mean, just how it's made and how it works. There's essence. There's got to be at least a little bite of malware in there. Yeah. I hated when all the teachers would power trip using GoGuardian. That shit is... $17 Philly. Like, I really hated it because I had to go play games and GoGuardian would block it. And before someone's like, oh my god, you always like to play games, do nothing. Here's the thing. In my school, past like 6th grade, which is when I really started to get computers, here's the thing, right? I'd get all my shit done, and then I get to play on the game. Like, for example, middle school, I have all these periods of work, and then at the end, I'd get study hall, where I could get my stuff done. And the teacher was like, okay, you know, you got your shit done, whatever. You get to play cool math games, 17 Philly. By the way, if anybody asks, I was a really big fan of Reach the Core. I actually found a way to get to Reach the Core on my other computer, and I got pretty far in. What the hell? But yeah, I can't remember all the things that I got blocked for GoGuardian, but I can just tell you it was so over restrictive. Like, even when I was trying to use my Chromebook for school shit, it was so dumb. Like, for example, here's the thing, right? Oh, there's a Weedy. Wait a second. I just have to, there might be like a couple more Wheaties in here because people like it. Nah. 1944 Denver, Wheat Penny number 10. But you know what I really hated? Is that in my high school years, we barely used GoGuardian in high school. In my high school when I went there, because they had like more trust. When I would do it, I'm interested in these things called microwave relay towers, and I'd always go map them out. Or like when like even when I was not in high school, I would do these like little projects, or I'd make art on my computer. Estimate. And in middle school, like again, past 7th grade, I'd make sure I had all my stuff done. So okay, I have my stuff done. Or if I don't have my stuff done, I would just doodle on my computer, and then I'd do it at home. I was pretty decent at getting it done at home. But I remember like when I was done, I'd be minding my own business. I am, you know, hanging out my computer, and some prick teacher just completely deletes my tab. Like, really, you're a piece of shit. You really had to bother me. I'm not bothering you. Like for example, like, why interdict, right? Like, give me a warning. Say, hey, can you please like get off and do something? Like, hey, can you please like, you know, not do that not use that application? Can you not play that game? I'd be like, okay, whatever, I'll do it. I won't. Or I'd be like, okay, I'm done with my stuff. Or, hey, I want to do this at home. No, don't even ask me, hey, like, are you done with your shit? Just exit my tab. Or worse, when I used to take tests, I know I'm an infamous person for doing this. I'd always like to have a ton of tabs up, and oh my god, they would just delete all my fucking tabs. That shit pissed me off. If I would have had more power, I would have brought my own device in, because again, I don't have to explain this to anybody. I shouldn't have to have my device controlled by another person. Even, like, I don't care if I ever work a job. No, you're not going to control my device, even if it's company issued. Like, there's mild restrictions, but, like, whatever. Like, don't control me. I'll do my shit. Like, but you just need to back off. But yeah, I really hated it back when you were on your computer in school and you got your stuff done and you want to go play some games. Your teacher got a little power trip like the little bitch they were and just completely deleted your tabs with Go Guardian. You know, one thing I like about Go Guardian is the fact that you could chat back and forth to teacher. That's nice. But most of the time, I was in the same room with the teacher, so there was no point. Oh my god, I think I even had Go Guardian control my computer when I was at home. Ugh. So, like, you know, like, I think I used to bring my Chromebook with me to home. So, actually, no, I didn't think I did. Man, I remember once we had a glitch in my, my district where when you closed your Chromebook, it would log you out. So, you had a whole week of people just bringing around their Chromebooks, and a couple of them people that didn't want to leave their tabs with me, we just had to walk around with our Chromebooks open. It was so awkward. Oh, nine. Yeah, Go Guardian pisses me off. Again, it really sucks because your teacher would just be power tripping and deleting your tabs. And by the way, if you're so concerned with your student... Oh, hello, viewers. If you're so concerned with your students that you have to use Go Guardian to watch over them, how about make your subject more appealing? And that's not me trying to sound like a little douchebag that hates teachers and authority. That's a person coming from... This is coming from a person that genuinely likes learning and acquiring knowledge. Make it fun. Like, you should make your class more fun than a computer game. And I get it, learning may not seem fun to everybody, but there's got to at least be an attempt to make it fun for everybody. Yeah, I agree with this one guy called Shrink. He says that the Guardian was invasive. Like, here's the thing. I don't care how long I'm going on about this. I'm stressed at... What's going on here? Hello, I'm searching pennies. So, my country, we have the wheat penny. These were issued from 1909 to 1958. They're not really way too rare, but they're a little bit uncommon, where you'll find only like 10 or 15 per, box. This one's from 1944. I actually have an insane infatuation with wheat pennies. I have thousands of them. I could probably sell my collection of wheat pennies for more than a couple $100. Okay, that is number one. That is from branch number one, by the way. So we got 10... I'm watching a video about, like, Go Guardian. But, dude, it's kind of creepy. A grown-ass adult literally stalking children on a computer. That's weird, dog. Hey. Looks like there's a bunch of coppers in here. Alright, we should have 4 wheat pennies. We got 10. We are rolling. Ooh, look at that. Got a lot of copper in here. By the way, I've caved in, and on Satisfactory, I'm building a giant refinery station. You know what's a great thing? It is balanced. So, it is, again, it's balanced. So, when I overclock it, I don't have to physically expand or tweak it. But, here's the thing. I was gonna make it where, like, I was gonna make, like, these rows of refineries where each one did 1,200 a minute. But here's the thing. If you use the pure recipe and you overclock the refineries, even if you don't overclock, the amount of refineries that's required to take that entire load does not add up to a whole number, which really is a big pain in the ass. So I decided to go for 12 refineries, because 12 refineries overclocked. What's it called? Overclocked or not overclocked, they balance perfectly with Mark 6 pipes. So, for example, if you overclock a pure iron recipe on a refinery, you can actually 12 refineries will consume all the water per minute off a Mark II pipe. So yeah. Estimate. I'm gonna go on Satisfactory here in a bit. Witty. Bro, these things you do are low-key interesting, man. You're such a good streamer. Thank you. Unfortunately, due to the cease of the production of pennies, I can't do this every day. Like, I can't do penny box every day. I used to actually get on and do one every day. Now I usually only do two on one every weekend day, or only 2 a week. Still a decent amount, but still. I'm around raking hundreds of Wheaties every month. It was like watching a river of gold coming from a pipe, dude. It's so nice. What's your best coin? In my opinion, my favorite one I found, probably 1924 Denver. Oh, it was Canadian penny. The 1924 Denver is the 5th rarest penny ever struck. I remember that day. I actually found it on August 18, 2025. I remember that day because that day I would leave, there's Woody, and I would go to see Shinedown, which I'm actually wearing a shirt of Shinedown right now. You got any non-American coins? Oh, many. Look at that. Right here. I think this is Swedish. I don't know. Or Finnish. Here's another one from Asia or China. I got a ton of foreigns. Especially from Canada. I have a $50. Give me a second. Like a $50 I think. Man, I have a piece of money. I have a piece of money from, what do you call it, Australia. I just don't know where it is. Fun fact, Australia, we have a Queen of England on our money. Yup. Yeah, you're not wrong there, because I've actually seen your money. A lot of countries that were part of the British Empire, even after succeeding, kept the Queen of England on their money. Yep, here's one. Here's a Canadian dollar coin. See, the Canadians do this smart thing, which is called, you know, make different shaped pieces of money. Man, I don't know where it was. I have a $50 Australian coin. Find it. that I got it readily available. There's $2 Canadian. There's a bunch of Canadian monies right here. Oh shit, there's a 20 that's just exposed. I've got puppy beard. Sucks. Huh. I guess I can't find it. I don't know why they come such a long way. I don't know the connections we made. I think back then the British Empire would send prisoners to Australia. Like basically, hey, you did something bad, you're getting your ass booted to Australia or whatever. That's like 12,000. Which. I mean, you know what they said. The sun never set on the British Empire. Philly. So you see this like little tiny hole? I made this myself. I made a custom little funnel, that way I could sweep all the pennies I don't want into it. After they get sent down the funnel, they get wrapped up and I trade them with banks. So I trade in my old ones and I get fresh ones. I will say, I have in my opinion, a very good eye for wheat pennies. I can tell what a wheat penny is if I just get the date. There's an 09. 2009 pennies were struck in the bicentennial of Lincoln's birth, so 200th birthday essentially. And the 09s also 2009s refer to, I think, the 100th year of the Lincoln penny being struck. It would also mark the transition from the memorial penny right here to the shield penny right here. The shield penny being the current final design. They used to own like America, Australia, parts of the Asia. Now they own. No kidding. I mean, honestly, in the British, back then at least, they weren't no weak force. If they wanted something done, it was going to be done. They had tons of resources, money, manpower, and a hell of a lot of will. Honestly, maybe it's just... Maybe America started a domino effect where once they saw that someone could stand up and secede and declare their independence, many nations around the world probably tried and succeeded. And plus, I mean, honestly, there's always a explanation for it. But imagine if all these secessions were occurring at once. Even the British military or navy couldn't keep up with it. Also, here's the thing, right? There's an estimate. Imagine some little island in the middle of absolute nowhere rises up and says, we're not going to be run by the British anymore. Okay, whatever. But even like sending out troops to enforce that island is a bit tough. Now, multiply that island by several hundred, like big and small, you know. The resource cost to upkeep everything has to be insane, even for a global superpower, even like the US. Like, the amount of resources and money and time to upkeep all those military installations across the globe, at that time especially, had to be high. Yeah. Oh my god. Okay, I have a question. Have you ever heard of Go Guardian? Like, it's a web it's like a web tool. Did you buy those coin sets? What do you mean these coin sets? These rolls are custom. These rolls are wrapped from pennies that are just random. Like, again, like, these are what we call federal rolls. Now, these rolls, the workers that make them are not... Oh, there's 09. I'm pretty sure the workers that make them are not legally allowed to touch or alter them. Meaning that once you get them, they're essentially random. You can find... Again, you can find your modern pennies, or you can find an Indian head sent all the way back from the 1850s. You literally never know what you're going to get until you crack one open. And that's the thrill of the game. You might be saying, oh, that's like gambling. That's because it is. But here's the catch. I'll explain in a second. But here's a great thing about roll hunting. If I don't like any of these pennies, just send them back and rinse repeat. Unlike gambling or like loot box gambling, you get essentially your money back. If you don't like what you get your money back. 100% of it. Like, for example, if you wanted to sell any collectibles, there's a negotiable price. Like, oh, I want to sell my Pokemon cards that are not as good. Okay, there's a price negotiation. With pennies, it's 1 cent per penny. There's no negotiating about it. But anyway, Go Guardian is this web service, and it blocks students from websites in schools. Okay, you might be wondering, so what's so bad about Go Guardian? It allows teachers to literally watch your screen. And apparently, I just learned that apparently monitors your link, how long you've spent on that link, and when you did it. When, when you access that website. They can essentially, again, they can look at your screen and, like, delete your tabs, block your websites. It's super shitty. Like, I used to get done with my work, and I'd go play games, and my teachers would power trip and just delete my tabs. Or worse, they could even restrict it to where you can only have one tab open at a time. It's so bad. Oh, Buddy. Oh, yeah. Oh my god, like 17 Philly. They're 17 Philly. I know a bunch of these backup pennies. Like, for example, the 17 Philly, or 2017 Philly, is one of the only, I think, the only penny year to actually receive the P or Philadelphia Mint mark. In fact, of all the 1-cent pieces in history, the 2017 is the only to actually ever receive the Philadelphia Mint mark. The Philadelphia Mint is the first mint. We actually even call it the mother mint in the biz. So the Philadelphia Mint they don't have to put the P on their coins. They do on all coins except for the penny until its eventual and unfortunate cease of production in 2025. Alright, so now we have 30 rolls in, 20 to go. We should have 6 wheat pennies. We got 10. We didn't find any in that batch of pennies, even though it looked like there's a lot of coppers. These rolls have gone unsearched for a while. I think I got these up in Rockford, Illinois. Like 3 hours away from me. Yeah, I'm watching this guy talk about Go Guardian. He just mentioned it. You can set a maximum amount of tabs for open. And by the way, as a tab monster... Okay, since you're so eager, you're gonna go next. But bruh, I hate that they can make it where you can only have like a couple tabs open. Oh, that's an old one. 1930, Philly. Wheat penny number 11. 30s aren't really that special, even though that's a very old date. Now, the 30s in the mint mark, so 30 Denvers, or D, there's Woody. Actually, I should explain to me what I said. When I say there's an S mint, so the S... You might be wondering what the heck, if I zoom in. If it's zoomed in for you, I hope it is. That is the S mint mark. They exist on pennies from 1909 to like 1931, and then 1930. They exist on wheat pennies from 1909 to 1955 with a couple breaks in the Great Depression years. Because the Great Depression actually shut down, like, the San Francisco Mint. Their mint mark is the S. They also had a brief manufacturing period between 1968 and 1974 for pennies. After 1974, they made no more pennies for public distribution. I have visited the San Francisco Mint. It's the only mint I've ever seen with my bare eyes. It looks like a fort. Then you have the D, which means Denver. Denver mint marks, of course, they of course come from Denver. They were made in 1911 and onward, if I'm not wrong. The 1912 Denver is the rarest, with only like 3 million, or no, not 3, 1 million ever made. Now, 1 million wheat pennies sounds like a lot, right? But here's the catch. There were 27 billion of those. If you had to get a wheat penny, you have if you have a fair chance, you have 1 in 2,700 chance to get a 1913 Denver. Even though I've gotten 3,000, or like 7,500 wheat pennies, I've never found a 12 Denver. Because most of them are most likely picked out of circulation. Again, that's me saying if there is a fair chance. So if you had every single wheat penny available, and you in a ginormous jar, and you had to reach your hand in and pick a wheat penny out, 1 in 2,700 chance. Now here's where it gets better. There's 1 million of them that were made, let's say none of them, all of them survived to 2026, which there's probably no more than 10% of them around, so there's probably no more than 100,000 of them still remaining, and that's a very, very kind estimation. There's 550 billion pennies that have been struck in total. That goes to a rate of roughly, if I'm not wrong, 1 out of 550,000. 1 out of 550,000. And that's if every penny if every penny survived and no penny in history has been destroyed or hoarded or lost. But the rarest by far is the 1909 VDBS. Viewers. Now, the 1909 VDBS is the rarest penny and the rarest wheat penny ever struck, and the rarest estimate ever struck. It has a mintage of a staggering low of 484,000, with an estimated of 20,000 or less remaining pieces. Now, a 1909 VDBS will fetch you about $1,200 at average condition, which is very high. I mean, that's a penny for $1,000. With mint state or very good conditioned 1909 VDBSs, selling for tens of thousands. Now, the 1909 VDBS pennies, they are actually some of the very first Lincoln pennies ever struck. But here's the catch. Why are they called VDBS pennies? It's because back then, when they made the 1909s, right there at the bottom, it was very small. What's your most expensive coin? It's probably an 1883 dollar coin. It's like $200, and it's almost pure silver. Grandpa gave it to me. But anyway, back down here, there was a VDB made, and it stands for Victor David Brenner, who used to he designed the penny. So the coin gets designed by a person, and then they make, this 09, they make the die that they strike the coin with at Philadelphia, and right now in the modern day, the VDB can be found right here. I can zoom it in. You probably are barely going to see it, but there it is, right on the edge. That means VDB. You just barely see the VDB at the bottom. Now, they put his initials on the penny, but it was controversial because people claimed that he was, quote, self-advertising. And I'm pretty sure that on coinage, it is illegal to advertise. Like, if I put an advertisement on a piece of money, that's not illegal, but for, like, the mint to do it, I'm pretty sure is illegal. You can't do it. Right? Or they can't do it. So, the mint attempted to recall the 1909 VDBSs. In fact, there's two VDBs. There's the 1909 VDB that came from Philadelphia, and 1909 VDBS. Another thing is that there are literally pictures of people back in 1909 lining up at the mint to collect the very first pennies ever struck. When the Lincoln penny was being struck, it was almost all the rage. Again, people were lining up in droves just to get their first few Lincoln head cents. But as soon as this cease in 1909 VDBs was announced, the public started to hoard them, and therefore the 1909 even VDBs as a history have dried up. I have searched through almost $10,000 of pennies in my lifetime over the past 4 years. I have never seen a 1909 VDB, let alone a VDBS. A 1909 there's an estimate. a 1909 VDB, there's about 28 million of those. And that's the most common member. I have found a 1909, but it wasn't VDB. Again, let me... Oh, there's a 1944 Philly. Yes, I studied a bit of history. 44 Philly is the most common wheat penny ever struck. That's number 12. There are about 1.1, I think, to either 1.1 to 1.4 billion 1909 or 1944 Philadelphia pennies struck. Again, 44 Phillies are the heaviest struck penny, and they make up, I think, about, like, at least, like, I want to say 5% of the entire population. Again, 44 Phillies are the most common of the Wheaties. I mean, of the 27.5 billion that were made, 1.1 billion are just 44 Phillies. So again, a lot of... Now, I have almost every single wheat penny, including the mints. There are 3 mints that struck wheat pennies. Again, Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Philadelphia and San Francisco started, again, as I mentioned briefly earlier. Denver started striking pennies, wheat pennies, but they started at 1912, I'm pretty sure. Even though Denver started in 1906, they started making coins in 1906. But, they only started making pennies in, like, 1912. Now, I was mentioning about Depression years in the 30s. Now, you ready to hear something awesome? So, in the 1930s, of course, the world hit... in 1929, a massive stock market crash affected the world. And in 1930... the Great Depression began. Now, in the wheat penny, oh, there's another one. See, like I can tell the date. Ready? I can flip it over and tell you it's a wheat penny. Boom, Wheatie. 1957 Philly, wheat penny number 13. That's one of the last wheat pennies ever struck. One of last year's. Anyway, back on topic. So yeah, I study history, and I can tell you this history. When the Great Depression struck in 1931, wheat penny mintage went down by like a staggering 92%. Again. Actually, probably, I think it's like 88%. I did a calculation, and in terms of 1931 pennies, only, in 1931, wheat penny mintage fell to like literally less than 15% of the previous year. We're talking, we had hundreds of millions of pennies, and it dropped down to like just the low tens of millions. And give me a second, I'll show you it. I don't know, I keep going off. But as you can see, look at this. 1930, right here. I copied all this data. 1930, 157 million, right? They're going strong. 1931, 19 million. Look at that drop. That's how bad the Great Depression hit wheat penny mintage. It got so bad that if you look even in this, there's missing data. That's because, like, for example, these are nickels, I think. They literally stopped for some years. Like, if I even go here, you can see that there are breaks in here because the Great Depression damaged coin production. You see, for example, for wheat pennies, San Francisco literally shut down making wheat pennies for 3 years straight. That's how bad the Great Depression got in America. And those... if you literally look at Denver, like look at the 1933. Like 1930 is pretty decently rare with 40 million, but look at 31 Denver. You get 4 million. This right here is very rare. In fact, there it is. It's the 9th rarest wheat penny ever struck. The Depression pennies, especially those with the mint marks, are very rare. Even without the mint marks, they are a little bit uncommon. I mean, look at that. From 1931 to 1933, Denver struck about 21 million pennies in 3 years. That's very low. By the way, I should mention we have 10 rolls left. We're going to get to Satisfactory here in a bit. I'm going to take my shower first, and I'm going to play Satisfactory. Today, the Denver Mint is operating. It is operated almost continuously since 1906. And it remains the highest... It remains the highest producer of coins in the world. So if any building that makes coins... Denver essentially ranks number 1. Denver's mint actually used to be what's called an assay office. So back when the gold rush was occurring, you used to be able to bring your gold into the assay office, and they would grade and judge your gold, and then they would melt it, and then they'd turn it into a coin, and they'd give it back. But here's where it gets bad. Back then, you could give them like $50 of gold, and you would get about $49.97. Now, that doesn't sound like much, but back then, even a couple cents was expensive. Like $1 in like 1900, right? $1 in 1900, I think, was like roughly $30 today. Like, this is the era where a couple $1,000s could easily buy you a pretty good home. And the gold rush was like, what, in the 1870s, I believe? So, that amount of money, like, you're losing money as they give you your coins. And the government said, hey, so, like, this is not really a good idea. We're going to kind of make this, like, federally established money, like more established. So, like back then, now I know there's a thing like, oh, the government wants to control money, but here's the thing. As much as I dislike the government did one thing good right there. Because here's the thing. Back then, people could make their own money. And now that sounds great, right? You make your own money, but the problem is that could lead to extreme inflation, 1. And 2, let's say I make $1 and you make $1. Okay, how much does my dollar equal to yours? Okay, your neighbor makes $1 for himself, herself, theirself, themselves. How much is their dollar worth compared to mine? That's between 3 people. Now consider... Yeah, by the way, like, again, $1,000 back in 1900 probably was like $32,000 today. Like, I think you could buy a home for a couple $1,000 like a very long time ago. And the other thing is, back in the Lincoln administration, before the Secret Service was announced or made, which, by the way, people think, oh, the Secret Service is to protect the president. That's actually, they only became, presidential guardians recently, within the past 20 years. The Secret Service, their actual goal is to eliminate counterfeit money. The Secret Service initiated under the Lincoln administration back in the 1850s. Or, I'm wrong. 1850s, I'm wrong. I forgot when Lincoln was president. Like, was it 1860s? But anyway, Lincoln actually, under his administration, created the Secret Service to stop counterfeit money. Because at that time in American history... See if you're still there. You probably are. It's just saying 0. At that time in American history, a staggering 33% or like 1/3 of all American money was counterfeit. Can you imagine living in America at that time and 1 out of every 3 bills you pick up is fake? Yeah, America was like that one time, where we had literally 1/3 of our money was counterfeit. 17 Philly. Now, with the help of the Secret Service, counterfeit bills are 1 in 100,000. So yeah, the Secret Service's initial, initial goal was to stop counterfeiting. There's 09. There's Canadian. Another thing that America actually had happen in it is back then, imagine like going to Chase in America. Like if you don't know, in America, Chase is like the biggest bank branch in the entire country, and I think in the world. Actually, that might go to a couple Chinese banks, because Chinese banks are freaking big. Back then, when you used to, have accounts at banks, you would have your own money. So imagine in America, if you, like, PNC had their own money, and Chase had their own money, and U.S. Bank had their own money. Yeah. And you couldn't switch, like, let's say if I had a Chase account, and I had, if I had a Chase account and like a PNC account, for example, back then I'd have 2 different types of money. It was freaking stupid, I know. There were literally tens of thousands of different bills. And then speaking of bills, the US made coins back in the 1790s first, and then we started making bills. I believe we first began making them in the late 1860s, but they really popped off in the 1890s. Yeah. Hey, really. 1953 Denver. Wheat penny number 14. Oh my god. I'm back to listening to that Go Guardian thing. Apparently, Go Guardian used to be able to turn on your webcam and log keystrokes. And if you don't know what that means that Go Guardian could literally track your keyboard movements. Which, even if that was done for safety, that data could easily be hacked. Like, let's say if I type in passwords, which is usually what when hackers hack your computer and they try to track your keystrokes, they're trying to look for passwords. That way they can rip it and immediately plug it into a sign-in and steal your account. They take the account and then they change your password and either hold it for ransom or just ransack it and steal it. That's scary, having an application that can turn on your webcam. My god. Alright, last roll. Over 9. Oh my gosh. Give me a second. Alright, wheat pennies. We got 14. Not bad. Bicentennials. We got 9 of them. 17 Phillies. We got 6 of them. Esments. 7 of them. Oh my god. Woody's, we got 4 of them. Canadian pennies, we got 4 of them as well. Copper pennies, we got 647. And no Indian head cents. And that's it. Anyway, guys, I'm going to stream Satisfactory here in a bit. I'm going to take a shower and take a little bit of a cool off. But yeah, peace.